Today's class is going to be Mother's Day floral origami. I thought it'd be really nice to kind of make two different corsages for your mom or for yourself. This class is models from my collection of origami books. And this one is actually really cool. It is called The New Origami by Stephen Megumi Biddle. This is a really great book, has some really cool, they break it up by kind of like bases in origami, and they show you an easy and intermediate and a complex model in here. And what they feature in here is this model here that I'm going to teach you. It's the Rose Brooch. Toshiya Takahama, excuse me, I totally got that messed up. And so that is her brooch, which is this, which is really cool. Now, what's interesting about this is I came up with a slight variation, which if you cut a certain part, then you'll get the contrasting green leaves, which is really cool. It just requires a cut on the leaf, and then you reverse the paper so that you can get your the green leaf there too. But there's a really cool dahlia, one-piece dahlia, which is really kind of cool and very simple to do. There's a variation to make the petals really round, which I'm going to show you how to do. And then 2 sheets of 3-inch paper. So that the dahlia is 6-inch, and the petals, or the leaves rather, are from 3-inch. So we can go ahead and get to that. You just cut it into quarters, and then you have your leaves here. There's a stem back here, so that you can go ahead and just pin it on like this, which is kind of cool. So these are great models, and so I suggest that we, if you are a beginner level, it'd be great if you had a larger sheet of paper. Instead, I had asked you to do 6-inch, which makes this size here. But if you have a 10-inch, that's great. I think that's going to help you see when we get into the detail of the center of the model, which is going to be great. I'm going to be using a 10-inch so that we can, so you get a better look when we get into the detail of this model. And so we're going to get started with this model here. All right, so we're going to start with the color side face down. And we're going to fold a preliminary base. So the first thing is to, actually, we want to, let's go ahead and do the rectangles first. So we're doing, fold it into a rectangle. If you only have a single sheet, you can go ahead and do the single sheet, because when you cut it, you'll just get the different color, or the white as your leaves. Okay. So go ahead and fold that, unfold, rotate, fold the other rectangle. Let's see if I can get that all. Okay. Okay. And then unfold it. Now we're going to rotate, so turn the model over and fold it into a triangle. So we are going to actually create a crane base. Okay, so we're doing all the basics for the crane base. So you fold that triangle, you want to unfold, rotate, fold the other triangle. All right, okay, so now that you have that, let's unfold it. So now you're looking at the color side, right? You want to push up the middle, and it pops up like this. And then you're going to gather the paper together, like I'm doing here. And then you want to split it and have 2 flaps going one side and 2 flaps going the other side. So now you have your preliminary base. Okay. Now that we have this, you want to have the open side facing you. Okay. And you see the center line. We're going to take 1 flap, and this lower edge here is going to meet this center like this. This is the ice cream cone fold. And then you take this side and fold that to the center. Make sure you're folding the open end. Okay, this is really important. So here's our ice cream cone. And then you see this triangle up here. You're going to fold that down, putting the ice cream on the ice cream cone. Now we're going to eat our ice cream. So you want to unfold the ice cream and unfold the cone. So you have these pre-creases here. You're going to peel away this top layer. Now you're going to keep this part flat, and the bottom of the ice cream here is your hinge. Okay, so the ice cream is not going to move. So you want to open the paper, just peel the top paper open. And what you do is you stretch the paper out, and you see how the sides start to come in. You want to go ahead and continue to do that. And you're following along your cone fold. So start from the bottom and do one side at a time. So you're going to work the paper up, and then you're going to continue. And you're actually reversing the direction up here on the top. But you're just following along that cone fold. Same thing for the other side. So start from the bottom, work the paper in, and then continue. Actually, if you stretch the paper out, it should fall right into place like this. So this is a petal fold, and that is a hard thing to show in books, but I'm sure you guys are successful doing this. And so now we're going to turn it over, and we're going to repeat. So make sure, again, you have the open end facing you, taking this bottom edge and folding it to the center. And then the other side, we're bringing that to the center. And then we're taking the top ice cream, putting the ice cream on our ice cream cone, and eating the ice cream, eating the cone, peel off the top layer paper, stretching the paper out, keeping this part flat. Stretch the paper out, start from the bottom and work the paper in. You might have to reach into this corner here at the halfway point to kind of smooth the paper out before you continue to do your fold. So go all the way up to the top. And then on the other side, start from the bottom and work all the way to the top. Okay, so now we have our crane base. So now that we have this, what we want to do, and just kind of, you want to take your creasing tool, and we want to go ahead and reinforce the outer creases, because these are going to be very important in the next step, because now what we're going to do is unfold the whole thing. So go ahead and unfold it. Have the back side of the paper up, face up like this. If you look at your crease pattern, you see that there's a square in the middle here. And then you see where there's an intersection here with these creases. Right at the corner of the square here, we're going to bring this bottom corner up, lining this with the center line, but it's going to occur right at this intersection here. There is a crease already there. And so what you want to do is you want to bring this up, just follow that crease there, because that's where you want to have the crease go all the way. So if you bring it up, make sure that this point is lined up with the center here. And then go ahead and flatten on either side of that square. Okay. The crease is there, so it's just a matter of continuing that crease all the way across here. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to create the leaf of the model. And what we want to do is on these creases here, we're going to turn those, well, actually they are mountain folds, which is what we want to do and reinforce. So you want to lift this up, and we're going to push this in, wrapping it, making this the mountain fold. So if you kind of watch how this goes first before you do this, the folds are already in place. And so what you do is from the halfway point, if you push this in and it, wraps around that point here, the paper will continue to stretch here. And this is already, you want to put this in place. So you see how this goes here. So the way this works is you want to wrap it around here first, bring this over, refold that section, and then when you flatten it, that's what you want to do, okay? So I'll repeat it on this side here. So you lift this up, you want to wrap this around the point, and then push this in, just refolding along that. It's already a mountain fold, excuse me, a valley fold. And then you're going to squash it, and it should just look like this. And so your model should look like this. You should have this point, and this side tucks in, and then these come out to the points here, okay? Now we're going to take this point here, and we're going to make a valley fold that goes to the, we're going to swing it to the left. And what you want to do is, it's actually stretching this whole paper out. If you kind of look over here and peel it open, you see that there's a maximum, it opens up maximum like this. When you do that, this point will line up with this edge here, like this, okay? So, and then you fold it. So the way you do this is you take this, you're going to make a diagonal valley fold starting from this corner, and it's basically stretching the paper out here at the max while lining up. It should line up automatically, but you do want to make sure that it's lined up with that edge here, okay? And then fold, so it'll look like this, okay? So now let's go ahead and rotate. I'm going to rotate the model. And we're going to repeat on this side here. So what we want to do first is, we have to take this flap and fold it along this crease here, right? We're going to reinforce this crease. It's a valley fold. So bring that up and then flatten or squash this part here and this part here. So it should look like this. Okay, now that you have that, we're going to lift up, and then this is the maneuver where we're bringing this, we're wrapping the paper around. So we're starting by wrapping it around here at the point, and then bringing this paper up. It's going to just come together to meet the other half there. And then this gets tucked in, and then you squash it flat. On the other side, start wrapping it around at the point here. Bring this up, squash it in place like that. It's kind of a cool maneuver. It's like, wow, when they line up and then it all fits nicely, it's like, oh yeah, that's cool. It's neat. So now that you have that, we're going to take the point and we're swinging it to the left. It's the same one where you're stretching the paper out here. So you're going to peel it open, making a valley fold starting from this corner and squashing it, but make sure that this point lines up with the center seam here. Like that. And then you want to reach underneath, so the top flap is hidden under here. So you just want to lift it up and then set it down like that. So we're starting to kind of coil the paper around the center. So your model should look like this. Now, let's rotate the model. So we're going to rotate the model. And do you see that square? There's a fold here. We want to go ahead and fold there. We want to do a valley fold. Now this is going to get folded. That's okay. You're going to take this and you're just going to fold this up right along that crease that was that existing crease. And what we're going to do is now we're going to peel the paper open again to the left, right? Everything's going to the left. It's going to start from this corner. You're going to bring it over. And your landmark is actually, if you have it so that it makes a 45-degree angle, 90-degree angle here. Between here and here. Okay. Go ahead and fold that. And let's see, let's reach underneath here. You see this guy here? We're going to pull it open, and it should pop open like that. So I'll repeat that because it's a little tricky. So you went ahead, folded this up, folded this out. Now in here, you actually have to kind of open this a little bit, reach inside, tuck this in. We want all three flaps to be up on top. Okay, so like that. Should look like this. And then now we have one more to do. So let's go ahead and rotate the model. We're going to rotate and repeat that last series of steps. Here is your square. Take this flap, fold it up, just recreasing, because that is a valley fold already. Take the flap, start the crease, your valley fold from this corner, swing it out. You want to line this seam with this here at a 90-degree angle. That means you're all, accurate and everything is kind of symmetrical. And then you're going to take, we have to open this, lift this one up, tuck it in, and then flatten that like that. So it should look like this. To get this color change here, what you're going to do is cut. I know, but it's just an easy solution to getting this color change. So at the beginning of the class, I mentioned that this model that if you don't cut it, the leaves are the same color as the blossom, as the rose. So I found a way to get this color change, but it does require cutting. If you want to keep yours like this, you don't have to do anything at this point. But to get the color change, what we're going to do is we're going to cut the top layer of these are the leaves, right along these angles here. Just the top layer. Okay. So I'm going to start. So you open up your flap and you cut right up to the edge, just like that. So we're just cutting that section there. And we're doing the same for both sides of that petal and all 4 petals. So what happens is after you cut it, it looks like this, right? Then it's just a matter of reversing, making it a mountain fold. We're wrapping it around the outside, and these points actually conveniently tuck inside here. So you're going to take this and fold it behind it and just tuck it all the way in here, like that. So there's your color change. So we're going to cut. I'm going to go ahead and cut all of mine. I mean, this is if you want. So this is just a nice variation. Okay. Open it up. Reverse the direction of the flap by wrapping it around the petal, or the leaf rather, and making sure that those points get tucked in there. I like discovering variations on models, and this is a really nice way to kind of do a quick change. Okay, so now that we have this, let's turn it over. So let's turn it over. So now we have our square here, and we need to do some more pre-creases. Okay, so if you see the diagonals on the square, we're going to use these as guides. And we're going to be folding making a valley fold from this corner and then bringing this edge to meet this diagonal, kind of like an ice cream cone fold on the side. So if you watch this, it starts from the corner and you fold it just like this. Make sure you take your creasing tool and give this a good strong crease. This is going to be really important. And then let's rotate and let's do the opposite one. So again, it's the left side here from this point, and we're swinging it over to the right. Make your crease, get your creasing tool. So hopefully you see this, you have your two flaps like that. Now we're going to unfold those. Let's rotate and fold these two, starting from the left point, okay? So the ones that we completed are like this. We rotated it, so now they're going vertical. So now we're taking this edge here, starting from this left corner, and folding it like that. Rotate and fold the other from the left corner to the right. Take your creasing tool and give it a good strong crease. And then unfold. Now you've got crease here. Whoops, crease there. And there. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is, let me see, it goes this way, this way. Okay. So now we're going to start rolling I call it rolling because you're actually kind of overlapping and creating the blossom. So let's start by refolding the bottom edge here. Okay. We're going to work clockwise. So now this left point here, and remember that pre-crease we did, all we're going to do is just take this point and fold it in along that crease like that. This should line up here. This flap should line up with this bottom edge. Okay. Now let's rotate. We're going to rotate the model. So now here we go. We have another point here on the left. We're going to refold that fold there. Make sure you tuck this part in here. Fold that over. So you see how these are overlapping here in the center? And then let's rotate it one more time. Now, this time we have to tuck this in underneath this. What I would suggest you do is to lift up. Okay, so find this here. Have your model oriented this way. So you see this flap here? And you see this corner we had to fold it in. There's that pre-crease in there, right? What you do is you want to bring this point in, following that pre-crease inside here. Let's bring this over. And then what happens is this flap here folds underneath. Do you see how that works? The fold is already there. So we're pushing this whole thing in like that. Okay. So when you lift this up, this whole edge is going to fold inside. So start from the bottom. See that lines up with the bottom here. And then you're just pushing, tucking in this corner here. We want to make sure that that goes in as you're folding this mountain fold along here. See if I could get you a better look. So again, here's your flap. You want to lift it up. This point comes in, following along that pre-crease. But you want to continue and tuck this whole corner in here. Okay, and then flatten. So now it'll look like this. It's kind of a cool tuck. Good idea to take your creasing tool and just go around the edges. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and proceed. So everyone's got this. Now we're going to work counterclockwise. This is kind of fun. When you lift up, what we want to do is actually, let's start with, orient your model like this. So it's like a square in the center. And you're going to take this, when you lift up this flap, do you see this fold, this crease line here? Okay. It may, yeah, there should be those crease lines there. So what we want to do is we want to open up this point here and swing it over to the right. When you do that, it's going to reinforce this fold, making that a mountain fold. And so basically, if you watch what happens, is when you bring the point over to the right, the goal is to squash this by refolding that line. When you do that, so you open it up like this, and the comes down, and then you're squashing it so it looks like this. Okay, should have a point here. There's a layer of paper underneath. Should look like that. And so now we're working counterclockwise. This one here at the bottom, you lift it up and we're bringing it up. When you swing it up, there's that fold right along here. So this comes in and then you squash. And what's interesting is this point, if you open it correctly, it will end here at this point. Oh, I just marked my hand. Okay. So you see this point here. Let me lower my camera so you can get some detail here. Okay. So we have this, and you see this point here. So we lift this up and have this point meet the top of that triangle there. This opens up like that, and then this ends up squashing in place. What you want to do is actually now take that point and tuck it under this flap. Like that. Now let's rotate. Here's our next one here. We want to lift this up, making this a mountain fold, creating our point. You want to make that point meet the top of this corner here. Squash it in place, and then tucking that in like that. We're going to rotate. And here's our final one here. This is in the way, so we just kind of move it out of the way, reach underneath, grab the point here, and you're going to make your mountain fold along that crease there, right? Bringing the point up so that it meets this opposite point here, squash it in place, tuck this in, and then tuck the final one in like that. So now it's a matter of doing some styling to your model. If you see there's four points inside here, and they have a pocket, you take that, and if you want, you can kind of open it up at an angle like that, but just kind of make sure they all go the right direction. Let's see if I can get that. So you can have some layers going. I don't know if you can see that little detail there. And then there are there's a couple of layers here, so you can kind of separate out the layers and kind of get more depth to your model by lifting them up and making some layers like that. So That's the rose part of the model. So now let's go ahead and work on the leaves here. This is really easy to do, this technique. What you want to do is, let's take one of the leaves and we're going to make a mountain fold right through the middle here. Okay, so you're basically pinching it as far as it'll go. And then you're taking this while it's pinched, right? And you're just doing zigzag back and forth as many pleats as you want. So I've kind of done it like this. Okay, just go back and forth, back and forth. Give that a good strong crease, a good strong pinch. And then when you open it up and unfold it, you have your detail for the leaf like that. So again, we're taking this, we're making a mountain fold right through that seam, pinching it all the way in, taking this, and we're just folding it back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and then unfolding carefully to not lose the shape, like that. Continue on to the next. Mountain fold right through the middle. Pinch it all the way in. Fold it back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Unfolding it. And the final one again. Mountain fold through the middle. Pinch it all the way. Fold it back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Good strong pinch. And unfold lightly, and you have your petal, or your leaves rather. It's kind of cool. You can kind of shape it. The rose leaves kind of come to a point, which is cool. So you can kind of pinch the absolute point and get a nice shape on that. So I think this is a really cool model you could enjoy. And it's pretty fun, but we're going to go ahead and get started. Let's go ahead and grab another 6-inch sheet, and I am going to grab a red. And what we want to do is make sure that the color side is face up. Okay, so my dahlia is going to be red, so that's color side face up. So let's go ahead and fold a rectangle. We want to unfold, rotate, fold the other rectangle, unfold. Now let's turn it over. So we're looking at the back side of the paper. And let's fold both triangles. Okay, so here's one triangle. Unfold, rotate, fold the other triangle. Unfold. You're going to push up from the center so it pops up like this. Gather the paper together, creating your preliminary base. So split the layer so you have 2 on one side, 2 on the other side, and here is your preliminary base with the back side facing out. Now we're going to do a series of squash folds. Super easy. You've got 2 layers on this side, 2 layers on this side. Let's start with the one on the right. When you first do these squash folds, you have to make sure that the spine, I call this the spine, is reinforced. Okay, so take this flap on the right, swing it over to the left, and give it a crease, and then bring the flap to dead center. Now you're going to slip your finger into the pocket that you see here, and go in a little bit so that this pops open just like this, and then you're going to squash fold it. You're squash folding it so that the center seam lines up with these layers down here, like that. Now, let's take the flap here on the left, and let's just swing this over. You want to make sure this is tucked in here. So we fold that over like this. here's our next flap. So take this flap, we're going to reinforce the spine by swinging the entire thing over to the right, increasing the center here, and then bringing it to dead center like this. Slip your finger inside, pop it open, squash fold this, lining up that center, that seam with the center here. Take the flap on the left, swing it over to the right. Take this final flap, swing that over to the right, reinforcing the spine, and then bringing that to dead center. Slip your finger inside, pop it open, and squash fold this. And then let's turn it over. We'll leave this open like that. Let's turn it over. So we're turning it over. Here's our final flap that we need to squash. So just take that, swing it over to the right, reinforcing the spine, bringing it to dead center like this. Slip your finger in, pop it open, and squash fold this. Like that. So now let's take this flap on the right and let's just open it up, swing it over to the left so it looks like this. Okay. So now we're going to take this flap and we're just going to fold it open like this. So it basically, the fold will go from this point to this point, making a triangle. We want to do that same thing for all of those similar sides. And so we're going to take this, let's swing it over to the right. Take this flap, swing that over to the right. And here's our next one here. We're going to take this bottom, the top layer, and fold it up, between this point and this point. Like that. And let's find the next one. So we're going to flip that over to the right, flip over the next one to the right. Here's our next one here. Take this point, fold that up like this. And then the final one, let's turn it over. So we're going to turn the whole thing over. And then on the right, we just take this layer and bring that over to the left. And here's our final petal that we need to open up. Bring that up. Okay. So now that we have that, let's go ahead and fold the whole thing in half. So we're going to take, let's see, so let's fold there should be 2 layers on the right and 4, wait, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on the left. Doesn't really matter. We want to take and just fold it in half, fold all layers in half so that you have one cone like this. I'm going to rotate it. And what we want to do, so you have the triangle that's pointed down like this. We're going to take this bottom part and we're going to make a mountain fold that swings out at an angle. So you see I'm going behind. And let's make it kind of like at almost like a 90-degree angle right in here. Okay, so it looked like this. So again, you have your model. Here's all the layers here. This triangle is pointing down. We're taking this bottom part and we're making a mountain fold that swings out and behind, comes out at an angle. So now this is the fun part. We're going to turn it over. So let's turn the model over. And what you want to do is you want to split the layers up in here. So just kind of get right in the middle here. Make sure you have an even number, 4 and 4. And you want to open this side. Okay, so I'm holding these layers together. So hold it at the stem. Split it in the middle like this. And what we're going to do is we're going to actually push this, we're going to invert it. We're going to push this through. So I'm going to put my thumb here, and then we're just pushing it through, and it kind of, all the layers invert. So it'll look like this. So make sure you push that whole thing in there. And then now you can open up your kind of, it'll pop open like that, which is really kind of cool. And then the final detail for this is I like my petals to have a slight, you see how it's rounded, it's not exactly a point. So we're just going to tuck these edges in here. So this is what we do. So hopefully you have that. That's kind of a fun pop open, right? Right where the points come into the center, we're just going to make a slight crease that does not go to the outer point. It stops short of that because we want to make a slight roundness to the petal. So we're creating a mountain fold, and we're kind of shaping it, and it's like pinching the layers. So you see how that works like that. So you see it doesn't go all the way to the corner. So that'll create the roundness on your petal like that. Just a little bit. You don't have to do a lot. So I'm going to rotate and continue just pushing it down from the middle, and then just pinching it out. And then keep rotating. Push this in, shape your petals. Push this in. Pinch your petal. Push this in. Pinch that in place. Keep rotating around. This thing has a lot of petals. And then the final one. So the final, what I suggest for the final shaping is if you just kind of open up the petals with your thumb like that, almost like you're pinching flat the outer point like this. Really nice if you have some really cool paper. Makes a really pretty flower. And then now the final touch. So you see in the back you've got a stem. And that's really cool because we're going to fit one of the leaves inside that layer and the other is going to overlap it. I'll show you. It's really cool. So go ahead and grab 2 3-inch squares. So if you don't have 3-inch, you could just get a 6-inch, cut it. I'm going to cut some paper. We make our 3-inch petals. And we're going to shape it the same way we did with the rose brooch. Okay, so I have my 2 3 green leaves. Let's turn it over to the back side and fold it in half into a triangle. Let's do both of them. So let's turn the other one over and fold that into a triangle. We're going to open it up, and let's do a kite fold or an ice cream cone fold on one end. We're folding it like that and like that. Okay. Do the same for your second leaf. That. And now we're going to, let's take one of them. Let's refold it like this in half. So we're just going to do the back and forth thing. Okay, so this is the stem here. This is the outer part of the leaf. So what I would recommend is just kind of doing, I think it goes this way. Okay, so we're just going to fold it. You can start anywhere you'd like. I kind of start up here. And you just fold it back and forth and kind of use, like you see how I have this lined up, and you line up the bottom too. So you kind of go back and forth, zigzag. Then when you unfold it, you have your detail here, which is pretty cool. Same for the other one. So you're going to take this, fold it in half, and then just start doing your back and forth zigzag fold. Stack it on top of each other. Unfold that. And then now we're going to repinch this long part here. And if you get your dahlia, so right in the middle, actually could be any layer that you can stick this in. I kind of do it right here in the middle. So I'm going to take this and just slip that in. See, I have it slipped inside there. And then take the other one. It should be folded, in half like that. And then we're just going to nestle it underneath the blossom here and then just wrap this around. And then get some tape and secure the whole thing, all 3 layers. So I'm going to grab some tape. So again, that second one, do you see this bottom edge of the petal here? I'm just nestling it right up against that like that, and then wrapping it behind it. And then I'm going to take some tape and let's tape the whole thing together. And then now you can just go ahead and open your leaves and open up the petals. So you've got your really cool, the other option for a corsage for your mom. And so that is our class for today.